Of being a hotspot for social activity on the first Saturday in May, scenes like this not happening on Cherokee Street this year after organizers canceled the annual Cinco de Mayo Fest, citing rising cost as the main reasons for that. Well, businesses in the area say the cancellation is not stopping people from coming to the South City area, but it's making an impact on foot traffic on one of their busiest weeks of the year. Speaking with some of those businesses on Cherokee, they still saw a good number of people come out today. The festival has been a staple for 18 years, but Cinco de Mayo Fest bringing about 20,000 people into the area. It was a financial driver for many businesses, especially the bars and restaurants there. While it might not be as big, the patrons coming today and through the year make a significant impact to support these businesses.
The messaging was pretty good, that it was like, you know, we rely on every day of the year, but particularly Cinco de Mayo to bring money in. And there's definitely been a lot of community support showing up today. A lot of the neighbors, a lot of the folks from Benton Park West and Tower Grove coming down to, you know, show their support.
So right now, Cherokee Street is evaluating if Cinco de Mayo will return next year or if they'll create something new.